Chiefs Kingdom. Welcome into the AP Breakdown. Welcome back. Week 2 of the show, 2024 season. Still in preseason. We're still getting to the real stuff. But until then, I am Ron Kopp Jr., lead analyst at the site, arrowheadpride.com. With me, a great film analyst, someone that loves breaking down the game with me. I love talking X and O's with him, Caleb James at CJ Scoots on Twitter. Caleb, preseason week 2. We got a little bit more of a dress rehearsal this week. Any ups or downs coming out of this? You feeling any better or lower about the team heading into the season after the dress rehearsal?
Well, Detroit, they didn't have any starters in the game, so that was definitely a little bit disappointing, but it was nice to go out and see the Chiefs move the ball up and down the field. Definitely nice to see that starting offense look pretty potent, even if it was against backups. It was fun seeing Xavier Worthy, who I think you're getting ready to talk about here in a
Oh
minute,
yeah.
kind of look really good, whether it be with Mahomes or Wentz out there. And then obviously just fun seeing the behind the back pass. I think anyone that said, they're going to play the whole half, I'm pretty sure when they started doing that was like the cue for like, take us out of the game. We're ready to go, or we're going to start doing this stuff more often. So, it was just fun to see kind of them back out there. That's probably the last real glimpse we'll get to see till week 1 against Baltimore.
Well, hey, we got to settle that debate though, right? Because Mahomes comes to the sideline, talks to the reporter, and initially blames Kelsey. I think I'm coming on the side. You see it on Twitter. I think some people think they're playing it up a little bit, right? They're kind of trying to make it seem like it wasn't supposed to happen that way. But you look at that play, man. I don't know. It times up a little too well. Do you think they're kind of BSing us? I'm kind of thinking they're trying to make defenses forget they saw that.
I don't know if that's the play that Andy Reid specifically called in the huddle. I think maybe there was a little bit of predetermination about what was going
Yeah.
to happen on both sides from both guys, but maybe that was just a little bit of a sprinkling for something we could see here in the regular season.
Yeah, no, I just thought that it was like Mahomes and Kelsey are both really trying hard to kind of get people thinking, oh, it was just a, that wasn't actually a design play. I don't know, I think they're trying to make the NFL fall asleep and forget about that play. No, that was inmate. I tweeted it out and shout out to Chiefs broadcast. They put it up on the broadcast, but I mean, I don't remember the last time Mahomes made me react that way to a play. I mean, we've gotten used to him doing some crazy stuff in his time with the Chiefs, and that was as amazed as I've been in a while watching Mahomes. So shout out him making the preseason fun. But there was some other stuff about this game that was very fun, and Xavier Worthy is kind of that first part of that because he did have his first kind of big impact on the Chiefs offense. We saw week 1, they tried to get him going in that first play on kind of that deep post, but as we were able to show on last week's show, the Jaguars kind of blitzed it, didn't give Mahomes a chance to set up and attempt it. And even this week, the drive almost didn't get going, or this play didn't even get going because Xavier Worthy freaking false starts. Refs blatantly miss it. There's just no doubt about that. I mean, I guess he doesn't necessarily move forward. I mean, yeah, he does. He does. Because you could say, I guess, that's just he's still motioning. But I think the refs got that wrong. But this is just a great example. And I do think the Lions DBs kind of get screwed because they are kind of reacting to the false start and maybe not, on the tips of their toes like they need to be. But when you're going to run cover one man robber, this strong safety right here is kind of playing the sticks, looking for a route to go right at the sticks on 3rd and long. You're just asking for trouble against Xavier Worthy because you see that man trail technique. He's going to separate real quick from that trail guy. Just leaves him in the dust. Again, I do think these DBs might be a little bit being like, oh, shoot, it was false start. So we're just kind of jogging through the play. I do think that plays into this a little bit. But that is just a huge play. And so it just kind of shows what X can do from the slot, coming off the line vertically. But it was this next play that really showed you the attention he can grab, from a defense, right? Really, how much a defense can gravitate towards him and open up other things. Very next snap, 1st and 10. Chiefs go with a play action kind of, to get a shot, shot look going. You're going to see X from the outside. It's going to be a switch release. He's going to come back inside, run inside of Justin Watson's curl route And look what he does to these deep safeties. First of all, you're going to have 2 deep safeties rotate back, plus the Tampa 2 defender who obviously climbs up that seam, trying to take away stuff up the seam. That's a good way to beat 2 high defenses. All 3 of those guys completely clear out. And all of a sudden, you have so much space to work with. First of all, Kelsey is open over the middle. I do think this defender right over the middle here kind of dissuaded Mahomes from waiting for him. But Justin Watson works perfectly into this window open by the guy reacting to the flat route. You're going to see the flat defender widen, get with Pacheco. That helps Watson get a window. So just another example of how Xavier Worthy can really open stuff up. I also wanted to point out, though, on this play, and dang it, I should have got the end zone angle of this because it shows it much better. You probably wouldn't even be able to see it that well from this angle if you're watching at home. Mahomes just has really good throwing technique, really strong, disciplined fundamentals, the follow through, the over the top delivery. I pointed it out on Twitter, but I do think that's something that he's worked on this offseason when he's in the pocket, trying to, not, get off schedule with his feet. And so he can't make some of those throws because he's, kind of maybe, off platform. Obviously, he can make all those throws right when he's off platform. But I think, obviously every quarterback wants to be within structure, balanced when they're in the pocket. And I think Nagy has talked about them working on that this offseason. Another just play here, Xavier Worthy. And Caleb, this is where I want you to give Kingsley some love because this was a great play to show Xavier Worthy's speed, although he does fumble. You got to work on that ball security, work on, playing through contact. Being tough. I mean, you can't let a tackle like that make a fumble, honestly, and we'll see it from the other angle. But Kingsley here, man. Caleb, did you get excited seeing this play from Kingsley?
Oh, definitely, and he does a good job of selling. Just selling like it's going to be zoned the other way first. He kind of takes those 2 hard steps down and then breaks out into the flat right there, and then he gets moving, puts a nice hit on the guy. Wiley finishes him up. Got a hold on the ball, though, man. If you're Worthy, though, that's going to be the one thing that could kill the Chiefs this year. It's the same thing that hurts them every year, is they just have to hold on to the football. He gets lucky here, but, that needs to be a lesson he learns because you're going to get a point in time, here very soon where there's going to be guys running. You're going to have to take an NFL hit and hold on to it. But, just talking about the blocking scheme in general, though, it's pretty good. Wish Creed maybe could have gotten up to 40 a little bit quicker.
Right.
You think Worthy might have had a chance to crack that, but still a lot of good here. And then, Kingsley just being an athlete in space is going to be fun. Andy's going to have a lot of fun ways to utilize him.
Yeah, the screen game, man. It's going to be fun this year. But no, that was my same thought. And honestly, X may be reading that where, okay, I'm going to cut back inside Creed's block. Creed's going to seal 40 for me. But he just gets too wide. Creed's not, Creed isn't able to get all the way out there. So 40 has a better angle to it. That might have been kind of what goes through X's head right here. And so why that ball might be a little looser than it needs to be. Maybe thinking, okay, I'm not about to get hit. And then, oh, shoot, I am going to get hit. So that might be kind of what that is there. But yeah, no, awesome display of blocking there. And then just a few more things from Xavier because first of all, before we show his touchdown, I do think this play kind of reminded me of a play in camp that I tweeted about where Trent McDuffie kind of, did a good job of kind of pushing and not letting Xavier Worthy, pursue the ball in the air. Kind of just shows you a little bit of what X is going to struggle with off the ball as an outside receiver against corners that do have a little bit of strength to kind of keep him, that speed isn't, just a little shove, that speed's slowing down all of a sudden. He, number 30 isn't as fast as Xavier Worthy. But I do think, and that ball's a little inside, but I do think this is just a good example. And again, McDuffie had a good play of this in camp too, where he just kind of subtly doesn't let Xavier Worthy, and Xavier Worthy, is kind of, not able to run through contact, not able to play physically through the ball. Just an example of what we may see from him on the outside and why it's still a problem that Hollywood Brown is injured. It's not just a 1-for-1 replacement, but then you do see what he can do from the slot, given a free release. I mean, this is just unfair. What else is this man defender going to do? It's man coverage. They actually kind of sell it out because this safety on the other side comes down chasing Justin Ross. That's they definitely were planning on him running more of a route at the sticks. He was going to try to take something away. Ross kind of wastes him by running that quick, shallow route. And then all of a sudden there is no one in the vertical plane to take away Xavier Worthy. And he just has this stutter step. I mean, what are you going to do? I mean, that DB is cooked. He has to try to undercut it, hoping Carson Wentz underthrows the heck out of it. And Carson Wentz does a really good job of laying it out there, knowing that there's no one over the top. He can just put it out there. But this just shows you, man, if you're going to give Xavier Worthy free releases, especially from the slot where you're already going to have maybe Rice commanding attention, other spots, Kelsey or Hollywood Brown commanding attention, like this stuff might happen quite a bit this year if everyone's healthy. Like teams are going to force the rookie to make a play and kind of in this situation. And I think teams are going to underrate Worthy's playmaking and how much he can do right away. And so I think Xavier Worthy's gonna have a few big plays this year. I don't know. Were you excited with Xavier Worthy's kind of breakout performance for the Chiefs fans?
Definitely. I mean, it's hard to not get excited about some stuff like that because look, is he a perfect player? No, he's still going to struggle with some of those, one-on-one situations when he gets pressed along the outside. But that's fine because he is much better than what they've had the last couple seasons. Like he is a true route runner and a receiver. He's not just a fast guy out there or like kind of like how MVS and McCole Hardman have been just like field stretchers. Like he has legitimate, he's got legitimate skill to catch the deep ball. He's got, skills to get open against, different types of coverage here and there. He can line up a bunch of different spots. And then Andy can always go to the gadget side of the playbook like they have done with McCole Hardman in the past for if they do have a game where he's not able to use the speed in receiving, like you see that play where he takes the reverse. That's a couple of blocks different or maybe one missed tackle away from being a touchdown. They're going to have that in their bag also. It's hard not to get excited for it. You just have to keep some of the expectations and check the best we can. But this is starting to look like a pretty, it's starting to look like could be a pretty fun season there from him.
Yeah, no, the speed is real. That's one thing, but you're right. I think your main point there, him being a true receiver, not necessarily just like a McCole Hardman. We're excited, man. I think he's shown some good stuff. I definitely want to get Hollywood Brown back in the mix, right? Get him, so the offense can be full health and Xavier Worthy can really take advantage of those off coverages. But yeah, we talked offense. That was kind of the main theme from the offense, right? There wasn't much else to really pull from on the starting unit. You even saw Carson Wentz, go in at that third drive. So there was plenty of defensive stuff, though, because the thing is with this defensive line right now, we know who the starters are. We know who the guys are that are going to dominate, eat the most primary snaps. But there's some competition kind of behind them, right? In week one or, going into week one. So I don't know. What did you see from the defensive line depth?
Absolutely. Let's just get into it here. Got a few clips. Yeah, I didn't see too much from George Karlaftis and Dana. I think they each played about 7 to 10 snaps, somewhere in that range. You got to see Tershawn Wharton a lot with the ones. He's having a pretty good preseason after a pretty good camp. He's looked pretty good. No, but let's just start out. And one guy that's played a lot of snaps, and I'm writing about it a little bit this week, is FAU. And the reason that I'm saying this is you're seeing some good stuff. You're seeing some bad stuff. I'm seeing a lot of negative stuff on Twitter. It is what it is at this point. We'll just acknowledge, we'll acknowledge the film and just kind of go with what we're seeing. But this play right here, and he's going to be aligned on the left side, he is trying so hard to bend the arc. And mind you, these are backup players for Detroit. They did have their backups in, like I mentioned. But he is going to come in here, and he's trying to swap the hands and bend the arc. And honestly, he beats the tackle to the spot. He's got the tackle where he needs to be. It's just he's turning it, and he's not quite able to bend where he needs to be able to get to fully get around the guy. And he comes a little bit wide here just because he's not quite able to take it around. And the quarterback is able to just step up a little bit and get a completion. Now, the idea is in the season that Chris Jones or someone will be blowing up the middle. It'll kind of force the quarterback to run, and that's when he can use that athleticism a little bit. So I don't think that's overly a bad play. I know there's a lot of people saying it's not good. And mind you, he does have a lot to prove. I totally get people wanting to be a little bit nervous about what they're seeing from him because, quite frankly, he's earned the right to make some people a little bit nervous. But we do need to give some credit where, he does deserve some because he has had some plays that he's been able to make where he has looked pretty decent. We'll get a couple of those pulled up here. But really, with him, I think the most consistent thing he's been able to do as a pass rusher is kind of line up and power his way kind of through the B gap a couple of times. He comes in with this good pad level, like here he's actually making an attempt to use a power rush, and we've seen this a little bit last year, but he does have that good pad level, little swim. He's able to get inside. Could possibly argue he's getting held a little bit at the end. He's just kind of getting grabbed onto a little bit, diving out the quarterback's foot. So that's not a terrible play. And that's kind of one of the ones where we've seen him, do not so bad at that. And here's this play. I liked this. He's just here on the goal line, and he comes in. What I like about this is he actually gets his hands inside on the tackle first. That's something he's struggled with, I thought, as a rookie. He's consciously making his effort to win the point of attack. He's got the tackle out of sorts now. So now it becomes a lot easier for him to kind of use that speed and bendiness and some of the athleticism to get around. And he doesn't quite get home, but the quarterback might have had a guy open. He just has to chuck the ball away. So I thought this was a pretty solid rep. He did get credit for like 3 or 4 pressures this game. So not like overly bad. I do get where people are coming from. But let's talk about another free agent real quick, because one of the guys that I think we've been paying attention to for almost a couple years now, he's been making a few plays here and there, and I'll see if I can get them up here in a second. But yeah, Truman Jones out of Harvard, he was an undrafted free agent last year, and we've actually seen him make some plays here and there on it, and it's been kind of fun, to be honest, because you just kind of hear, you don't expect a whole lot out of the rookie undrafted second year guy who, last season spent on the practice squad, but here he is. This is a pass rush down. I like this play because he's getting that hands on. Joe Cullen does a good job with his guys. You can tell what the emphasis on it's going to be to win that inside hand battle, because he comes in, stabs the tackle in the chest here. He's on the right side of your screen. Stabs the tackle. Now he's controlling the block. The tackle has no surface because his shoulders are turned to him. And now he's kind of just driving the bus, taking the tackle where he needs to go as he's reading the quarterback, and comes off and makes a good play there. It's a sack, that counts. That counts a lot when you're, just breaking down stuff and trying to make the roster.
Yeah, I mean, that's Truman Jones was someone in camp that I made a note that he just looks kind of like someone that belongs at the bottom of a rotation. I thought the same thing of Malik Herring when he was first coming up.
Yeah, we'll get into some Herring here in just a minute, because I think Herring's having a good preseason also. But this is the play the Chiefs have run a lot in this situation, just a little flip sweep down here. But look at Jones. He's at the top of the screen with his hand in the dirt there. He reads it perfectly, and he is unblocked on this play for a reason. There's not supposed to be a situation where this receiver gets tackled by the defensive end. He's supposed to catch the ball, make his decision, get to the sideline, or cut it up. But Jones is just right there. He just shuts it down. Great awareness on the play. Just making it look easy there. And that's the kind of stuff that counts up when, they're trying to see, are you going to make the team or not? And even if it's not quite to make the Chiefs, all these guys on the field are all competing to put their film out for everyone, not just the Chiefs, because, even if they don't make the Chiefs active roster, they're going to have a chance to go through the waiver process and get picked up by someone else.
Yeah, and I mean, the Chiefs don't really want any of these guys to be let go, I think, right now. I think their defensive end room, I think they're struggling to find someone reliable, behind the 2 starters right now. So,
yeah, and I mean, do you think? And right, real quick, we'll let it play out. Malik Herring is on the end. He just does a nice job of setting the edge and turning the ball back in here. But right now, I'll let a couple of these clips play out. But right now, do you think that the Chiefs would be in the market for another defensive end possibly, or an added edge rusher? That seems to be the popular take around the kingdom these last couple days.
Yeah, I do think so, but then you have to put in the context that Charles Omenihu is coming back. I mean, you can't really bank on him, coming back full strength or anything, but you got to imagine if he's back on the football field, he at least can give you, quality snaps against the run on early downs. He may not be as explosive as a pass rusher right off the bat, but that's where I kind of do lean they'll probably just, make it work for now. And honestly, I listened to Spag's press conference today. I think we may be looking at corner, so it's kind of this Chiefs defense. We're used to it being elite from last year, man. All of a sudden, there's a few shaky spots that we're talking about needing to add guys at.
Definitely. Got this one here. I'm trying to see what it was. I think it's just Tershawn Wharton. Yeah, you see Turk right there, number 98. He's just lined up straight up in the B gap here. Turk's having an awesome camp. He's a lock to make the roster again. But watch this. He takes this tackle, and this is the difference between going against those starting caliber guys and some of these backups they are. But look at number 98. He's reading the play, and he just takes the tackle and just heaves him off to the side real quick like he had no business even being in there. They're knocking people all over. Great little shove in there, and he does a good job. And actually, FAU comes over. He beats the tight end. He's able to get around the tight end also, and they both kind of combine for that tackle there. But
yeah, I think Turk's been playing real well. Like Turk's had a great camp. Joe Colin mentioned that. He pointed out Turk is having a great camp in his press conference recently. Both games, Turk has come in and kind of made impacts right away. He's a really important piece for this defensive line this year. When Chris Jones needs rest or when he is banged up, they're going to need someone to continue to disrupt from the interior.
Definitely. Speaking of which, let's give him some credit because he's been a guy we're a little hard on, but sometimes I think we forget that despite what we say about Matt Dickerson, he's probably one of the most talented humans that's ever lived to put on a football helmet. We say he doesn't look good relatively going against an all-pro caliber guy like Joe Tooney or Trey Smith or someone. You put him out here against these Lions backups, and he goes out here, he looks like Aaron Donald. On this play right here, he's about an inch away from a strip sack, but I think Matt Dickerson is playing himself back onto the roster right now. He's just an energy provider. He's looked good in camp. He's never gonna be anything more than like a backup type player, and that's fine because he's reliable. And maybe at some point this season, if they put him in the game, he'll make a big play in a big instance. But you really like seeing him come out and continue to make those plays there. I'll see if I got a couple more, something else we can share here.
No, Matt Dickerson has definitely, you're right. I mean, he's had an awesome preseason, especially as a pass rusher. I've always kind of thought, I feel like I don't see much from him in any way. He's not that big. He's not like a nose tackle type, but he's also, I don't feel like I haven't seen him penetrate as much as he is this preseason. And, that could just be that he hasn't gotten the opportunity, but this team has kept him around, man. He was on the 53-man roster all last year. He's older than you think. He's like in his 6th year, which I didn't realize. I looked that up recently. So that kind of plays into it too. He's more experienced than some of these other guys. A guy like Fabian Lovett, I like, that he's flashed a few times this preseason. He's not ready to, he isn't. I mean, he has strong hands and that's about it. A guy like Dickerson, you can see gets off the ball fast, doesn't stay blocked for long. So definitely shout out Matt Dickerson.
Change it up a little bit here. I was not paying attention. I actually missed the behind the back pass. It's because I was enamored by this block that Trey Smith puts on this poor defensive end. You got Niang at right tackle here. The edge is kind of pushing him back a little bit, but you see Trey Smith comes over and it's football season when you see that stuff getting going. I think Trey's probably ready to tee it up when he's laying hits like that on guys. I was like, man, it's just the preseason. He's already getting in there, laying those blindside blocks. Hey, I tell you what, though, I do have one more clip I'll share. Maybe we'll look at a behind the back pass to end things. But real quick, there's a guy I've been impressed by on the offensive side of the ball, and his name's Ethan Driscoll. We actually paid a little bit of attention to him. With Wanya Morris out and Tooney out and Niang having to step up, you've seen him. Driscoll's gotten a lot more run than I anticipated he would with like the legit twos, like the definite twos. And for being, you figure like a big 6'8" guy like him, he's just going to be like a big lurch in there, just a big body that they wanted in camp. And I'm not so sure about that. I think he's got a little bit more athleticism than we're letting on. And the Chiefs run this beautifully executed little draw. I love that Andy Reid scripted this up just specifically for the twos, specifically for Norzad at center to get going and to let Driscoll show off that athleticism in space. But you see, they run this little draw look, but they set it up kind of like a little screen pass almost. And Driscoll shows pass at first. He gets the edge up the field, You see Norzad work number 60 there. He does a great job working him to backer, but you see Driscoll rolling in space, putting a big block on a guy, paving the way for Deneric Prince down there. I like that a lot. That's the kind of stuff right there from Driscoll that prevents you from getting cut. It keeps you around. It keeps you in the conversation for practice squad. When you have that kind of size and that kind of athleticism, coaches are always going to be interested in you. And, I think he's actually having a pretty solid camp. I like what I've seen from it. I think maybe he's a guy you continue to keep around and just see what happens, develop him.
Dude, that's the thing. That one play, that might get a coach that, because he went undrafted, which was kind of surprising if you followed pre-draft. He was at least supposed to be like a day 3 pick, maybe. That it makes it tough on the Chiefs. Like, shoot, do we risk this guy that does have these physical traits that teams are going to see and be like, oh my gosh, like why did we pass on him? He might be one of those guys they have to think about. Is it really worth keeping Niang around? To for one more year before he's gone, because he's not re-signing. You would imagine. I don't know. Do you go that far with it? You think?
I mean, I definitely think it's possible. Oh, before we get into that, I mean, I definitely think it's possible that they'd be interested in it. I mean, this is kind of like Andrew Wiley origin story part 2. Just a big athletic guy, definitely raw, but you got to kind of develop him, make him learn a little bit of guard too, make him learn tackle, he knows tackle, but like make him learn it at the NFL level and kind of see where you can go with it if you can get him bigger and stronger. That'll be kind of one of those things to monitor. I think Niang's actually benefited most of anyone from this because he's like gotten to go in and play with the twos, and probably just due to his experience, he's probably going to be around on the roster again. I don't know what's up with Wanya.
Yeah.
A little bit concerning. Wanya not really going. Joe Tooney, they're saying is going to be ready, but he hasn't seen the field in a while. The left guard spot could be something a little interesting to watch on opening night, but we'll worry about that here in a couple of weeks after the preseason's over. But I think the last clip we got to share of the night,
have to
possibly this. And I love the end zone view on it just because, I mean, you hear like the crowd at Arrowhead, people are just like oohing and on. I'm like, of course the Chiefs are going to go out here and make this happen. Just do it in the preseason, but actually, just look at these poor defenders right now. Like, look at the big man, look at the linebackers. They're smothering Rashee Rice. Like, these guys are like right here, and then they see this, and it's just like you'd hate to be those backups for Detroit because now you are posterized forever. You could have, gone your entire career and told people, yeah, I was on the practice squad for a minute, and they'll say, oh, were you on the Lions that game when Mahomes did that to you? And it's crazy. Okay, so here's the look. I mean, and by the way, Kingsley doing a real good job over there getting the guy off the ball. But they're just running like this, like little run action looking I mean, it looks like an RPO setup, especially the way Creed and Caliendo are both kind of moving on that angle. Like, it makes me think like they're in full run block mode. Like, it is supposed to be some sort of a little screen in here or some sort of a shovel to Kelsey, which makes me think maybe it was not quite like totally improvised. I think Kelsey was the main target the whole way, but maybe they just figured this would be a good time to pull it out of the bag. I don't know. What do you think?
I know it's, because I was talking at the top, like there's no way this was completely improvised. No, I don't know. It is weird. Like, it's definitely not the right action. Sometimes on those, when Kelsey's sliding across or taking that pitch, he's not sliding across here, but a lot of that time it's off a power read option kind of look where someone's pulling. But here, yeah, I don't know, but I had the same thought, with the defenders. Like, that's all I can think about is just how these defenders like thinking, oh, I'm just trying to get some good looks in a preseason game. I'm not going to say anything crazy. And all of a sudden, yeah, like you said, like they're going to be in these pictures in this clip forever, And I really wish Mahomes would have saved this. And again, if it happens again, it's going to get maybe the same pop. But man, imagine the pop, because the pop was crazy. The crowd pop on this. Imagine it in a regular season in a full PAX Arrowhead. I couldn't imagine the kind of the pop we would have got. Oh man, so because it was a regular season pop as is for this. So that was my only sadness from this play. Didn't get that real crowd pop, that real Arrowhead pop.
But what's interesting about it is at this point he's changed. He's changed what we're going to see now because someone's going to try it. someone who's not him will probably also try, and it may not go as well for
That's
that
so true.
individual. So people are going to start doing that now. It's just a part of what we're going to have to deal with. I don't know to what extent the Chiefs will use that during the season. I'd be fine if they didn't do it, unless it was just like, against the Raiders, up a few touchdowns late. You want to pull it back out. That's fine. Some things that could go wrong there if you're not 100% on it, but that's probably why only Mahomes should be doing that and no one else.
No, you're 100% right. Someone's going to do that. Check out Nebraska, Dylan Raiola. They're going to put that in the playbook just because Mahomes, the Mahomes lookalike, that freshman quarterback at Nebraska. All right, good stuff, Caleb.
Real quick, do we want to bet that Josh Allen tries it and fails, or does turns the ball over somehow?
Yeah, I could see Josh doing it, and it just going 20 yards over, just him just accidentally chucking it and it just turning into a comical interception, in the middle of the defensive secondary. Someone's just fair catching it. I could see that. Oh man. I cannot wait for that. Cannot wait for the season, man. We're getting there, getting close. Chiefs Ravens week 1 is going to be so fun at Arrowhead. Can't wait to be there. Can't wait to break it down for y'all. Can't wait to preview it. We'll be doing that all for on this show. So thanks for tuning in. Make sure you're liking this video. Make sure you're subscribing to the page. We're going to be coming out with more content as the season goes on. And yeah, make sure you're following us on Twitter at Ron_Kopp, at CJ Scoops on Twitter. Get it a little bigger for the people down there. Again, this is the AP Breakdown. We're going to be breaking down everything Chiefs the rest of the season. So appreciate you joining. Keep tuning in. Catch you next time.